Why does God allow some to get rich and others not? Before we dive into this transformative content, I want to ask you something important. Subscribe to the channel right now, turn on the notifications, like this video, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Here you will find scripts that not only talk about material wealth, but about spiritual prosperity, about the alignment between faith and action. If you've ever searched for answers to understand why some seem to be born with open doors to money, while others struggle for years without achieving stability, this video is for you. Today we're going to discover together the spiritual, biblical, and mental principles that explain this difference. God is not unjust. He doesn't randomly choose who will prosper and who will live in scarcity. What happens is that there are universal laws, invisible but powerful, that act upon all of us. Some people understand and apply them even without realizing it, while others remain trapped in limiting beliefs that block the flow of abundance. This journey will show you that you can change positions, you can leave the constant struggle, and enter the flow of prosperity. The key is in understanding the principles that move the spiritual and material world. Get ready to reflect deeply, to question what you believed about money and spirituality, and most importantly, to leave this video with a new level of awareness. In the middle of this content, I will ask you to comment below. Do you believe that wealth is a divine gift or a consequence of mindset? I really want to know your opinion. Now let's go to the first part of this revelation, the enigma of wealth. Gift or choice? When we look around, we see extremely rich people who have multiplied their possessions, built empires, and seem to live lives of privilege. And we also see good, hard-working people, full of faith, who remain in financial struggles throughout their lives. This raises a painful question. Does God favor some and forget others? The answer is clear. God does not show favoritism. What changes is how each individual positions themselves before the laws of life. Just as gravity acts on everyone, the law of attraction also acts. But only those who understand how to align thought, emotion, and action manage to activate this force in their favor. Some believe wealth is a matter of luck or destiny, but in truth, it is the result of a formula: mindset plus faith. Inspired action. While many wait for the blessing to fall from the sky without doing anything, others understand that God's blessing comes with the responsibility of using the mind as a creative instrument. Look at great biblical examples. Solomon asked for wisdom, not money. From that choice, all wealth naturally flowed to him. Joseph, sold as a slave, used his faith and strategic vision until he became governor of Egypt. David, before becoming king, already had within him the courage and confidence that led him to face giants. They prospered because they accessed spiritual principles, not because they were chosen arbitrarily. The truth is that many still believe poverty is a sign of spiritual humility. This belief, repeated for generations, creates deep blocks in the mind. But Jesus said, "I came that they may have life and have it abundantly." Abundance does not mean only spirituality, but fullness in every area: health, relationships, and finances. When you understand this, the question stops being, why does God allow some to get rich and others not? And becomes, how can I align myself with God's will to manifest prosperity in my life? It is in this shift of mindset that the secret lies. The spiritual law of harvest. In the Bible, there is a principle repeated countless times: whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. This is one of the clearest keys to understanding the difference between wealth and scarcity. Some interpret this in a limited way, thinking only of material actions. But the truth is that sowing happens first in the invisible, in the thoughts, in the words, and in the emotions we carry daily. Those who cultivate a mindset of scarcity, who repeat phrases such as, "money is hard to earn," "A rich man will not enter heaven," or "I don't deserve more than what I already have," are constantly planting seeds of limitation, and inevitably, the harvest will be one of financial hardship. On the other hand, those who educate themselves to think in terms of possibilities, to visualize abundance, to give thanks for the little they have, and to act with courage, sow prosperity. It is important to understand that God is not in heaven choosing who will be rich and who will be poor. He established spiritual and natural laws that work impartially. Just as gravity does not care who you are, the law of harvest does not differentiate between rich and poor. It simply returns what you planted. Many people confuse faith with passivity. They believe that it is enough to pray and wait. But true faith is action. It is the conviction that what you believe already exists, and that is why you act as if it were real. You take steps even without seeing the full path, because you trust that divine providence will open doors. This is the reason why many prosper. They are not afraid to sow in unknown soil. They do not freeze in the face of risk. While some limit themselves to what they already know, others expand their vision, seek wisdom, take risks, work with discipline, and, above all, keep their minds connected to the certainty of abundance. God does not reward laziness. He honors effort, persistence, and courage. The harvest always comes, and whoever sows abundantly reaps abundantly. This applies to the farmer, the entrepreneur, the artist, and even the one who dedicates their life to helping others. Everything returns, because that is the law, the power of a rare mindset. The most striking difference between those who prosper and those who remain in scarcity lies in the way of thinking. The mind is the fertile soil where all of life's harvests are born. Those who develop a rare mindset of expansion, discipline, and vision access levels of prosperity that seem unreachable to most. God gave us the ability to create. The Bible states that we were made in His image and likeness, and this means we carry within us the power of imagination, of the word, and of decision. Yet many live as if they were victims of circumstance, as if the external world were responsible for their condition. The victim mindset is one of the greatest blocks to prosperity. Think about how many people, when facing difficulties, say phrases such as, "It's impossible for me," "I'll never make it," "My destiny is to be poor." These words are not just outbursts. They are spiritual decrees. Every spoken word carries creative energy. That is why, when you speak scarcity, you reinforce scarcity. When you declare abundance, you open the space for the universe to conspire in your favor. The rich, consciously or not, protect their thoughts. They select the information they consume, avoid wasting energy on gossip, negativity, or complaints. They understand that every minute spent on unproductive thoughts is a wasted seed. Instead, they focus on solutions, on creating value, on constant learning. It is important to remember that wealth is not just about having money. It is the reflection of a mind trained to generate value. A person may receive an unexpected fortune, but if they do not have a rare mindset, they will quickly lose it all. On the other hand, someone who has developed mental discipline can start from zero and in a short time rebuild their prosperity. This is proof that God does not distribute riches unjustly. He simply allows each one to reap according to their mindset. Those who think big, dream big, and act big are closer to wealth than those who remain bound by fear and doubt. The role of active faith in wealth. Faith is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. Without faith, a positive mindset becomes just empty optimism. With faith, even the smallest seed of an idea can become a tree of abundance. Jesus said, "If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move." This metaphor reveals that true faith does not depend on size, but on authenticity. Many believe in God but do not believe that He wants them to prosper. This contradiction weakens faith. How can you expect abundance if you yourself don't see yourself as worthy of it? That is why so many pray for prosperity, but deep down believe they will never be rich. Prayer without faith is only sound, but prayer with conviction is a spiritual decree. Active faith is believing even when there are no visible signs. It is continuing to sow when the soil seems dry. It is maintaining gratitude when the harvest has not yet arrived. It is acting with courage, even in the face of fear. Those who prosper understand that faith is not a limited religious concept, but a creative energy that shapes reality. God does not allow some to get rich because He loves them more. He allows them to prosper because they developed active faith, which translates into consistent actions. It is faith that inspires someone to open a business when everyone says it will fail. It is faith that sustains a project when criticism arises. It is faith that keeps the heart firm when results take time. While some live bound to doubt, others dive into faith and discover that life responds to the inner call. It is as if life says, if you believe and act, I will conspire in your favor. This is the invisible power that differentiates those who merely survive from those who truly prosper. The test of purpose. Another point that many ignore is that prosperity always comes with purpose. God does not pour out wealth without intention. He does not allow someone to prosper just to live in empty luxury. All abundance carries with it a mission. When someone gets rich without purpose, the fortune is lost, bringing emptiness and despair. Many prosper because they understood early that money is a tool, not an end. They used resources to create solutions, to help people, to finance causes, to transform environments. The greater the purpose, the greater the capacity to attract wealth. But those who seek money only for status or to prove something to others generally encounter invisible barriers. God looks at the heart. He allows some to prosper because He knows they will make money a channel of blessing. That is why we see people of faith prospering in businesses that bless entire communities, while others keep asking for miracles without assuming any responsibility. Here is the reflection. If God gave you millions today, what would be your purpose? Would you use it to build, bless, share, or only to show off? Purpose is the filter that defines the dimension of wealth each one can sustain. Many do not prosper because they are not yet spiritually prepared to manage abundance. This is a test God places before each of us. What will you do with what you already have? If you are not faithful with little, you will hardly be placed over much. True prosperity begins with gratitude, good management, and clarity of purpose. Why does God allow some to get rich in the end and others not? We must understand before we dive into this transformative He does not favor some. I want to ask you something and abandon others. Subscribe to the channel right now. Is the manifestation of eternal laws that reward this video, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Here those you will find scripts are not only talk about material they are simply wealth, those who align their lives with these principles, about divine justice between faith and action, because it offers everyone the same opportunity to understand why some seem to choose thoughts with open doors to money and attitudes, while others struggle for years. The difference is that some use this power consciously. This video is for you. Wealth is not in chance. Today we are going to discover together the spiritual, biblical, and mental principles. You stop envying those who prosper and start learning just. You stop randomly choose why does God allow some to get rich and others not, and start asking that how can I align myself with the abundance invisible but that has already been released upon all of us. This simple shift people understand and apply them for your even life. Without realizing it. while others remain trapped in limiting beliefs. The question that echoes in so many hearts is, if God will show you that you can change positions, why do some prosper the constant struggle while others enter the flow of prosperity? Fasting and working hard is in understanding the principles financial that move the spiritual and material
This
world.
question has followed humanity since ancient times,
to question
and many
what you
believe
about money and
destiny,
spirituality,
luck,
and
or
most
divine
importantly,
favoritism.
to leave
But the
this
truth
video
is deeper
with a new
and more
level
liberating.
of awareness. God established in the
middle
middle
of
of this
this
content,
laws that
I will
govern
ask you to
prosperity,
comment below.
and those who learn to
Do you
align
believe
with them
that
prosper,
wealth is a
while
divine
those who
gift
ignore them
or a
remain in
consequence of
scarcity?
mindset?
This is
I
not punishment.
really want to know
It
your
is
opinion.
consequence.
Now let's go to the
Think
first
of the
law
law
of
of
gravity.
gravity.
The
It does not
enigma of
decide
wealth.
who will fall
Gift
and who will float.
or choice.
It simply
When we
acts.
look around, if someone
We see
climbs a building and
extremely
jumps,
rich people
they
who
will
have multiplied
fall.
their possessions,
If another
built
builds an
empires,
airplane
and
applying
seem to live
principles
lives
of
of
respect
privilege,
physical laws,
and we also
they
see
will
good,
fly.
hard-working people,
Gravity
full
did
of
not
faith,
choose.
who
It
remain
was
in
the
financial
application
struggles
of the law
throughout
that
their
determined
lives.
the result.
This raises
So
a painful
it is
question:
with wealth.
Does God favor
Those
some
who understand
and forget
and
others?
apply the laws
The
of the
answer
mind,
is clear.
of faith, and
God
of
does
action
not show
manage to
favoritism.
fly
What
financially,
changes is how each
while
individual
others who
positions
remain
themselves
repeating
before the
old
laws of
beliefs
life.
fall into
Just as
limitations.
gravity acts on
How
everyone,
many times
the law
have you
of
heard
attraction
phrases
also
such as
acts.
money is
But
the
only
root of
those
all
who
evil?
understand how to
This is a
align
distortion of
thought,
a biblical
emotion, and
verse,
action,
which actually
manage to
says
activate
that
this
the
force
love
in their
of money
favor.
Some
Is the
believe
root of
wealth
all
is a matter
kinds
of
of
luck
evil.
or destiny.
Money
But in
itself
truth,
is neutral.
It is the
It
result
is only
of a
energy,
formula,
motion,
mindset,
a means of exchange.
Plus,
The problem
faith,
is when it becomes an idol,
inspired
an end in itself.
action.
But when
While
used
many
as a tool
wait
of
for the blessing to
expansion,
fall from
it
the
becomes
sky
a channel
without
of
doing
blessing.
anything,
And
others
it is
understand
exactly
that
here
God's
that
blessing
many
comes
comes
with the
They
responsibility
demonize
of
money
using the
and
mind
at the same time
as a
desire
creative
it.
instrument.
This inner
Look at
conflict
great
creates
biblical
invisible
examples.
blocks.
How
Solomon
can you attract
asked
something
for
we
wisdom,
subconsciously
not
believe
money.
is evil?
The
From
first
that
step
choice,
to changing
all
your
wealth
reality
naturally flows
is to
to
cleanse
him.
your mind.
Joseph,
of these
sold
inherited
as a
beliefs.
slave, used his
Review
faith
what you
and
learned about
strategic
money.
vision
What
until he
phrases
became
did your
governor of
parents,
Egypt.
grandparents, or
David,
teachers repeat?
before becoming king,
Money doesn't
already
grow
had
on
within
trees.
him the courage
The
and
rich are
confidence
corrupt.
that led him
Whoever
to face
wants too
giants.
much ends up with
They
nothing.
prospered because
These
they
seeds,
accessed
planted in the
spiritual
subconscious,
principles,
not
grow
because
like
they were
weeds
chosen
that
arbitrarily.
choke the harvest
truth
of
is
abundance.
that many still
Today
believe
is
poverty
the day
is
to
a
pull them
sign
out
of spiritual
and replace them
humility.
with declarations
This
of
belief,
power.
repeated for
Money is
generations,
my ally.
creates
I am
deep
worthy
blocks
of
in
prosperity.
But
My
Jesus
wealth
said,
glorifies God because
I
it
came
allows
that
me
they
to
may
bless
have
other
life
lives
and have it
Another
abundantly.
essential point is to understand
Abundance
that
does not mean
prosperity
only spirituality,
begins in
but
imagination.
fullness in every
Everything
area.
that exists in
Health,
the world was
relationships,
created
and
twice.
finances.
First in
When you
someone's
understand
mind
this,
and then in the
question
physical plane.
stops being
the
why
phone
does
you
God
use,
allow
the house
some
you
to
live
get
in,
rich
the
and
clothes
others
you
not?
wear, and becomes
Everything began
how can I
as an
align
idea.
myself with
God
God's
gave
will
us the gift
to
of
manifest
imagination
prosperity
so
in
that we
my
could be
life.
co-creators
It is in
with
this
Him.
shift of
If you do not
mindset
allow yourself
that
to
the
imagine
secret
a rich
lies.
life,
The
you will never
spiritual
have that
law of
experience.
harvest.
That
In
is
the
why
Bible,
Jesus
there is a
said,
principle
if you
repeated
can
countless
believe,
times.
all things are
Whatever a
possible to
man
him who
sows,
believes.
that he will
Believing
also
is
reap.
visualizing, feeling,
This is
and
one of the
acting
clearest
as if it were
keys to
already
understanding
real.
the difference
Many
between
do not
wealth
prosper
and
because they are
scarcity.
afraid to dream big.
Some
They
interpret
think it
this
is
in a
prideful
limited
to
way,
desire a
thinking
mansion,
only
to
of
travel the
material
world,
actions,
or to drive
but the
a
truth
luxury
is
car.
that sowing happens
But it is
first
not
in the
pride to
invisible.
desire.
In the
It is
thoughts,
natural.
in the
The
words,
problem
and
is
in the
attachment,
emotions we
not
carry
desire.
daily.
Those who
Desire
cultivate
is
a
the
mindset
spark
of
that
scarcity,
moves action.
who repeat phrases
Those who
such
repress
as
themselves,
money is hard
believing
to
that
earn,
asking for
a rich
abundance
man will
offends
not enter
God,
heaven, end
or
up living
I
below
don't
the
deserve
potential
more
given
than
to
what
them.
I already have.
But those who
are
desire with
constantly
gratitude
planting
and
seeds
set
of
their hearts
limitation
on greater
and
purposes
inevitably
find doors
the harvest
opening.
will be one of
Now let us
financial
talk about
hardship.
discipline.
On the
Wealth
other hand,
is not only the
those
fruit
who
of
educate
faith and
themselves to think in terms
but
of
also of
possibilities,
consistency,
to visualize abundance,
How many start a project
give
with
thanks for the
enthusiasm
little they
and
have,
abandon it at
and
the
to
first
act with
obstacle?
courage?
How many say they will save,
It is
invest,
important to
study,
understand
but
that God is
stop
not in
after a
heaven.
few days.
Choosing
Discipline
who will
is
be
the
rich
bridge between
and
faith
who will
and
be
result.
poor. God
He
allows some
established
to prosper
spiritual and
because they have
natural
learned to
laws
obey
that
the law
work
of persistence.
impartially.
They fall
Just
7
as
times
gravity does
and
not
rise
care who
8.
you are,
They do
The
not
law
give
of
up when the
harvest
harvest
does
does
not
not differentiate
because
between
they
rich and
know
poor.
that the time
It
of
simply
sowing and
returns
the time
what you
of harvest
planted.
never
Many
happen on
people
the same
confuse
day.
faith with
Here is a
passivity.
practical
They
exercise.
believe that it is
Choose
enough
today
to
a
pray
prosperity
and
habit,
wait and commit
but
to
true
repeating
faith
it
is
for 90
action.
days.
It is the conviction
It can be
that what you
declaring
believe
phrases of
already
abundance
exists,
every morning,
and that is why
reading
you
10
act
pages
as
of
if
a
it were
book on
real.
finances,
You take
saving
steps
10%
even
of everything
without
you
seeing
earn,
the full
or
path,
dedicating
because you
1 hour a day to a providence will open doors. The secret
This is the
not
reason
to
why
start
many
big,
prosper,
but to
they
start
are not
faithfully.
afraid to sow.
The
in
brain
unknown
needs
soil.
repetition.
They do
to
not
create
freeze
new
in the face
pathways,
of risk.
and the more you
While
insist,
some limit
the
themselves to
easier
what
it
they
becomes.
already know,
Another
others
secret is
expand their
association.
vision. Seek
The Bible
wisdom,
already
take
said,
risks,
can two walk together
with
unless they are
discipline,
agreed?
and above all,
Keep their
if you
minds
want to
connected
prosper,
to the
you cannot
certainty
walk
of only
abundance.
with people who spend
God
their
does
days
not
complaining
reward
about
laziness.
life, mocking
He
those who
honors
have
effort,
big dreams,
persistence, and
or criticizing
courage.
the
The
rich.
harvest always
The
comes,
energy of such
and whoever
people
sows
contaminates,
abundantly
and without
reaps
realizing
abundantly.
it, you start
This applies to the
reproducing
farmer,
the same
the entrepreneur,
pattern.
the artist,
Those who prosper,
and even the one who
seek the
dedicates their
company of
life to
visionaries,
helping others.
of those
Everything
who think
returns,
big, of those
because
who
that
share
is the
solutions
law.
instead of problems.
The power
It is not
of a rare
elitism.
mindset.
It is
The
protection
most
of your
striking
mind.
difference between
And
those
maybe
who
you ask,
prosper
but
and
what
those
about
who
those who
remain
get
in
rich
scarcity,
through corruption,
lies in
through
the way of
exploitation,
thinking,
through lies?
the mind?
Why does
is
God
the
allow
fertile
that?
soil?
The
where
answer
all
is
of
clear.
life's harvests
They also
are
apply
born.
certain laws.
Those
But
who
that does
develop
not mean
a
they will
rare
have peace,
mindset,
nor that
of
they
expansion,
will keep wealth.
discipline,
There is a difference
and
between
vision.
fortune and
Access
prosperity.
levels of
Fortune is
prosperity that seem
accumulating
unreachable
goods.
to most.
Prosperity
God gave us the
is
ability
living
to
in
create.
fullness. The
Many
Bible
who got
states
rich
that we
dishonestly
were made
live
in
in
His image and
anxiety,
likeness,
fear,
and this
and
means
emptiness.
we carry
They
within
may
us
seem victorious
the power
for a
of
time,
imagination,
but sooner or
of
later
the word
harvest comes
and of decision.
because the law of
Yet many
sowing
live
is
as if they were
relentless.
victims
God
of
allows us to see these examples
as if the
not to
external
frustrate us,
world were
but to
responsible
teach us.
for their
He
condition.
shows us that
The
enriching
victim
is possible,
mindset
but
is
also
one of the
warns us
greatest
about the
blocks
importance
to
of purpose.
prosperity.
Think about
Money
how
without
many
purpose
people, when
destroys,
facing difficulties,
but with
say
purpose,
phrases
it
such as,
builds.
"It's impossible
And here
for
is
me,
another exercise.
I'll never make it.
Write on a
My
paper what your
destiny
purpose
is
would
to
be
be
if you
poor."
had 10 times more money than
These
today.
words are not just outbursts.
How would you use it?
They are
Who
spiritual
would you
decrees.
help? What
Every
cause
spoken
would you
word
finance?
carries creative
This
energy.
exercise is
That is
not
why,
fantasy.
when you speak
It is
scarcity, you
preparation.
reinforce
God only
scarcity.
pours out
when you
more
declare
when He sees
abundance,
that you already have
open the
clarity of
space for
use.
the universe
Now let
to
us talk about
conspire
gratitude
in your favor.
Perhaps
The
this
rich,
is the
consciously
greatest
or
secret
not,
of all.
protect their thoughts.
Whoever is
They
grateful
select the
for
information
little
they
makes
consume.
room for much.
Avoid wasting energy.
Whoever
on gossip,
complains about
negativity,
little
or
blocks
complaints.
the flow of much.
They understand that
The energy
every
of
minute
gratitude
spent
is
on
magnetic
unproductive thoughts
because
is
it
a
communicates to the
seed.
universe
Instead,
that you already
they focus on
recognize
solutions,
abundance,
on
It is
creating
as if you were
value,
saying,
on
I
constant
already
learning.
see
It is
blessing
important
here.
to remember
I am
that
ready
wealth is
for
not
more.
just about having money.
Complaint, on
It
the
is
other
the
hand,
reflection of a
sends the
mind
opposite
trained to
signal.
generate value.
I never have enough.
A person
I
may
am not
receive
ready
an
for
unexpected
more.
fortune.
God does not pour
But if they
blessings
do
into
not
an
have a rare
ungrateful
mindset,
heart, because it
they
would be
will
like
quickly
putting
lose
new
it
wine
all.
into old
On the other
wineskins.
hand,
Someone
here is
who
another
has
powerful
developed mental
exercise.
discipline.
Every day
Start
before
from
sleeping,
zero,
write
and
down
in a
three
short
things
time,
you are grateful for
rebuild
that
their
day.
prosperity.
It may be a
This
smile,
is proof that
an
God does not
opportunity,
distribute
a
riches
meal.
unjustly.
By training the
He
mind
simply
to see
allows each
abundance
one
in details,
to reap
you
according
open
to their
space for
mindset.
abundance in greater
Those who
aspects.
think big
and remember,
dream big,
prosperity
and
is
act
also
big
a state
are
of
closer
vibration.
to wealth than
It is
those who
useless
remain
to act
bound by
externally
fear
if
and
inside
doubt.
you vibrate in
The role
fear,
of active
doubt,
faith
or
in
resentment.
wealth.
Faith is the
That is
bridge
why it is so
between the
important to
invisible
release
and the
forgiveness.
visible. Without
Grudges
faith,
block
a
the flow
positive
of wealth
mindset
because they
becomes
imprison
just
your energy in
empty
the past.
optimism. When you
With
forgive,
faith,
you are
even
not
the
saying the
smallest
wrong
seed of
was
an
right,
idea can
but you
become
are
a
free
tree
of
of
abundance.
yourself.
Many
Jesus
do not
said,
prosper because they
if you
carry
have
emotional
faith as
weights
small
that
as a
drain
mustard
their
seed,
creative force.
you will say to this
forgive,
mountain,
write
move
the
from
person's
here
name,
to there,
declare
and it will
aloud
move.
that you forgive them, and
This
let go.
metaphor
This
reveals
is not
that
true
weakness.
faith does
It
not
is
depend on
spiritual
size.
power.
It
but
is
on
like opening a
authenticity
dam.
that
Many
was
believe in
preventing
God,
water
but do
from
not
flowing.
believe that He wants them
Forgiveness
to
releases
prosper.
creative
This
energy that can
contradiction
transform into
weakens
ideas,
faith.
opportunities,
How can you
and
expect
resources.
abundance
Now,
if
I want you to
yourself
imagine
don't see
a
yourself
seed.
as worthy
You
of
are
it?
standing before
That is why
a
so many
spiritual
pray
vault.
for prosperity.
This vault is
but
full
deep
of blessings,
down believe they will
ideas,
never
connections,
be rich.
and wealth.
Prayer without
God
faith is
prepared
only
for you.
sound.
The
But
key to
prayer
this vault
with conviction
is your mindset.
is a spiritual
Every time you think
decree.
small,
Active
the
faith
key
is
does not
believing
turn.
even when there
Every
are no
time you
visible
complain,
signs.
the key jams.
It is
But every
continuing
time you
to
think
sow
big,
when the
declare
soil seems
abundance,
dry.
give thanks. It is maintaining
act.
gratitude
The key
when the
fits,
harvest has not yet
and the vault
arrived.
begins to open.
It is acting with
This
courage.
vault is not
even
far away.
in the face of
It
fear.
is already within
Those
you,
who prosper
in your mind,
understand that
and in
faith
your
is not a
spirit.
limited
God allows
religious
some to
concept,
prosper because
but
they
a
learn to
creative
turn the
energy
key,
that shapes
not
reality.
because they are better.
God does
but
not allow
because they
some to
chose
get rich
alignment.
because He loves
You
them
can
more.
too.
He
It does
allows
not
them
matter
to
your
prosper
origin,
because they
your
develop
age,
active
your past
faith,
mistakes.
which
What
translates
matters
into
is
consistent
today's
decisions.
With
It
every
is faith
thought,
that
every
inspires
word, and
someone
every
to
action,
open a business
you are turning
when
the key
everyone
to
says
open
it
or
will
close
fail.
the vault.
And
It
to
is
conclude,
faith that
here is the
sustains the
greatest
project when
exercise of
criticism
all.
arises.
Every day
It is
upon
faith that
waking,
keeps the heart
stand
firm
before the
when
mirror
results
and declare,
take time.
I
While
am a
some
child
live bound
of the
to doubt,
Creator.
others
I am
dive
worthy
into
of
faith and
prosperity.
discover
I
that
attract
life
abundance
responds
with my
to the
faith,
inner call.
my mind, and
It
my
is as if
actions.
life
I
says,
am a channel
if you
of blessing.
believe and
Money
act,
flows to me
I will
with ease,
conspire in
and
your
I use
favor.
it to glorify
This
God
is the
and
invisible
bless
power
lives.
that differentiates
Repeat with
those
emotion,
who merely
feel
survive
as
from
if it
those
is
who
already
truly
real.
prosper. This
The
daily
test of
practice
purpose
reprograms your
that
subconscious
many ignore
and puts you
is
in
the
the prosperity
frequency
of
always
wealth.
comes with
If you apply
purpose.
these principles,
God does
it is
not pour out
impossible to
wealth
remain
without
in
intention.
scarcity.
He does
God
not
does
allow
not
someone
choose
to
some
prosper
to be rich
just to
and
live
others
in
to be
empty
poor.
luxury.
He
All
chooses
abundance
all
carries
carries with it a
abundant,
mission,
but it is up
when
to each
someone
one
gets
to
rich
decide
without
whether to
purpose,
align
the
or to
fortune is
resist.
lost, bringing emptiness
Today
and
you have the
despair.
chance to choose.
Many prosper because
If
they
this
understood
message
early
spoke to you,
that money
like
is a
this
tool,
video,
not
share
an
it
end.
with someone who
They
needs
used
this
resources
light
to create
and
solutions,
subscribe to the channel
to help
so you
people,
don't miss the
to
next
finance
content,
causes,
to
and leave your
transform
comment.
environments.
What
The
was
greater the
most
purpose,
powerful
the
insight
greater
you
the
receive
capacity
today.
to attract
Your
wealth.
participation
But
is
those who
fundamental
seek money
for us to
only
expand
for status,
this
or to
community
prove
of
something to
prosperity,
others,
generally
divine
encounter
justice.
invisible barriers.
In the end,
God looks at
we
the
must
heart.
understand
He allows
that
some
God
to
is
prosper
just.
because He
He
knows
does not favor
they will
some
make money
and
a
abandon
channel of
others.
blessing.
What
That is why we
exists
see people
is
of
the
faith
manifestation
prospering
of
in
eternal
businesses
laws
that
that
bless
reward
entire
faith,
communities,
mindset,
while others
action,
keep asking
and
for
purpose.
miracles without assuming
Those
any
who prosper
responsibility.
are not
Here
God's
is the
favorites.
reflection. They are
If
simply
God
those
gave
who
you
align their
millions
lives
today,
with these principles.
what would be
divine
your purpose?
justice is
Would you
perfect
use it to
because
build,
it offers
bless,
everyone the same
share,
opportunity,
or only
the
to show
power
off?
to choose thoughts,
Purpose
emotions,
is the
and
filter that
attitudes.
defines the dimension
The difference
of wealth
is that
each
some
one can
use this
sustain.
power consciously,
Many
while
do not
others
prosper
waste it,
because
wealth
they are not
is not
yet
in
spiritually
chance, but in
prepared to
awareness.
manage abundance.
When you awaken
this
to
is
this
a test God
understanding,
places before
you
each of
stop
us.
envying
What
those
will
who
you
prosper
do with what
and
you
start
already
learning
have?
from them.
If you are
You
not
stop
faithful
asking
with little,
why does
you will
God
hardly
allow
be placed
some to
over
get
much.
rich and others
True
not?
prosperity
And start
begins with
asking,
gratitude,
how can I
good
align
management,
myself
and
with the
clarity of
abundance
purpose.
that